You know, Mark, I'm going to add one more title. You're a real car guy. You're a real auto guy. I want to talk about somebody else that was seen as just very much an auto guy, CEO Carlos Tavares. Kind of got in some hot water. A lot of people feel like he kept production too high and prices too high in here in North America, specifically with Ram and Jeep. What's the path forward for Stellantis now with his departure?
Well, the first order of business for Stellantis is to hire a new CEO. And, you know, actually, you can argue that they don't necessarily need somebody from the auto industry to take that role. You really need somebody that has a lot of manufacturing, product development, quality, supply chain type of experience to come in and just prioritize, focus, define the reality for the team, stabilize the finances, pick the team, the senior team that he's going to use for the turnaround, determine what's core and non-core, and almost be a great communicator and re-recruit the employees to give them what success looks like in the short term and the long term. But they have a number of issues to work through. And, part of it, Frank, is self-inflicted. Part of it is just the industry dynamics. All the OEMs are under pressure right now because of the costs associated with transitioning to EVs and the lack of demand versus what they forecasted. But then, part of it, as I said, is self-inflicted. They grew inventory too fast. They were overzealous on production. And they have a lot of fights with their stakeholders, whether it's, dealers, suppliers, or some of the governments where they're cutting jobs. So they have a big bill to fill over the next year or two to turn around that business.
All right. So it sounds like it's a pretty long laundry list of things that have to be done. You have experience with things like this. You led the turnaround of Mazda when Ford owned it. You led a turnaround at Ford itself. As we see increasing competition from these Chinese EV makers, what has to happen at these, U.S. automakers? I guess Stellantis is technically a foreign automaker, but these so-called big three automakers to make them competitive in what seems to be a very changing landscape?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think what the Western automakers, let's use here in the U.S., Ford and GM, they have very strong product portfolios on, their ICE vehicles, their internal combustion vehicles, trucks, SUVs. They're very well positioned there. Ford has a very strong business in their commercial business where they sell transit vans and other trucks. But I think it's important. They need to decide, and they are deciding right now to compete with BYD on costs. And they have a little bit of advantage right now because here in the U.S., because of the tariffs that the government has put on EVs and new vehicles coming from China, it gives them a little breathing room to really fully understand the cost base of the Chinese vehicles and then, work really diligently to try and match that cost base. I think the other advantage that they have, Frank, that they should really focus on is, the Western automakers, they truly understand, the U.S. buyers. And that's a real advantage. The Chinese do not. And so, for example, the Chinese have a lot of electronics, a lot of software in their vehicles. They know their Chinese consumer, but that may not be as appropriate here for the U.S. So, the Fords, the GMs, they have some time. They can't squander it because they have to compete with these Chinese automakers, including BYD, globally. So they have to get cost competitive.
Mark, you just mentioned the tariffs. I just want to get your take on how will tariffs shape the Western automakers' path forward? My understanding is that when it comes to the manufacturing of a lot of these automobiles here in the U.S., there's parts and things that go down to Mexico, then they come back to the U.S. Then the work in progress goes back down to Mexico, and then comes back to the U.S. A lot of back and forth. How is the tariff, the possibility of tariffs, I should say, how could that impact just the supply chain, the workflow, and everything else?
Well, you're exactly right, Frank. When you look at the MCA agreement, which is the trade agreement here in North America, which was done actually during Trump's first administration, there are rules around North American content, which means, a percentage of the content can come from, Mexico. It can come from Canada for vehicles sold in the U.S. When you think about Trump's threats on tariffs, part of it is just, Trump is all about staking out a negotiation position and threatening, as you know, 25% tariffs on everything coming from Canada and Mexico, including cars. That would have a significant impact on the U.S. automakers, because as you said, when you look at the supply chain, a lot of the parts, including a lot of finished vehicles, come from Mexico. For example, GM is the largest importer of vehicles from Mexico into U.S. to support their U.S. sales. Ford is the least dependent on Mexican-made vehicles. So it could have a big impact, not only initially on the price of new vehicles, but will have a big impact potentially on the content in those vehicles because of the supply chain and how, it's been built throughout the continent. And I think, everybody's focused on Trump's tariffs. I think the real important thing to focus on is the end of 25, the beginning of 26, that MCA agreement is up for renegotiation.
One last question. Just your take on the Japanese automakers. We mentioned Nissan with a profit warning, also cutting production and thousands of jobs.
Yeah, Nissan's case, listen, there's industry factors that I mentioned, but also their self-inflicted wounds. And one of the biggest things impacting Nissan is their product lineup. They don't have any hybrids. And that's a big issue here in the U.S. because that is one of their most profitable markets. The CEO had to go in front of the markets and lower guidance for the second time in a year. That's never a good thing. And then when your CFO, reportedly is stepping down or being replaced, that's really, really difficult during a time in which they have huge debt coming due in the next 2 years. I think they have about 1.6 billion next year, and then another almost 6 billion the year after. So, like Stellantis, they face a major turnaround, and while they're, experiencing some management turnover. So it's a big challenge.